Hey everybody, it's Chris. Got another survivor interview, thriver interview for you today. This is Skip Stein, and Skip was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer in 2008, and he refused conventional treatment, and he is alive and well and thriving today, almost 14 years later. And so I'm excited to share his story with you, let him share his story with you so you can be encouraged and inspired. And so Skip, hey man, how you doing?
Hi, Chris. It's been a long time. We met in, was it 2017 at the cancer seminar in Orlando.
I met a lot of people
I know,
at
I know,
that
but I got a
event.
good picture I posted on your
I know I
Facebook
saw
page.
it. It's proof. We definitely met.
Yeah.
And I know it's great. It's just so great that you're doing well and that you are, you've dedicated some or a lot of your time now to helping other people to give them
Yes.
hope and encouragement and empower them that they can change their life and heal. So I would love to, I'd love for you to take a few minutes and share your story, your cancer journey, and we'll just talk about what you did and what you've learned.
Okay. Well, like you indicated, uh, I was diagnosed with what the oncologist termed aggressive prostate cancer with a Gleason score of 8, 4+4, and that's how they rate prostate cancers. And told that I was too, at the time, I was too fat for surgery. And so I was sent to another radiological oncologist to get pellet implants or to get reviewed for it, where they insert radioactive pellets in your prostate. And, I asked the guy, doesn't radiation cause cancer? And I never got a straight answer, so never went back to him. And I talked to local folks here in Orlando. They are, they've got some pretty good oncologists and stuff like this. I looked at there's a term for it, cryogenic or they freeze dry your prostate. I looked at that and I explored all the different options, and didn't like anything I heard. And my wife was very concerned because I was basically told I was going to die in less than 3 years. And I said, well, and the doctor said, well, you can take a watch and wait. That's a medical term now. And I said, yeah, that sounds like a good thing. He said, but if you do that, you might live 3 years, and within a year or so, you'll be in severe pain. You'll be in a wheelchair. You'll be immobile, yada, yada, yada. And my wife and I left that meeting, with that guy. She was in tears and I was upset, and because basically I was given a death sentence. So what do? We had been watching a series on PBS called The Incurables. It's no longer on, but you can actually see the episodes on YouTube. And it's about people who have cured themselves of various ailments, basically holistically. And so we'd been watching that just out of interest. And so we said, maybe that's onto something. So we started doing some, internet research, and we found a video DVD, and we found the Gerson Institute out in California, and they have a video called The Gerson Miracle. And it tells the story of Max Gerson, who back in the 40s, he and his daughter had left Germany around World War II. And back in the 40s, Max Gerson had been basically curing cancer. And it's an interesting story. I won't go into it here, but it's worth listening to. And his daughter, Charlotte, she passed about a year or so ago in her 90s. And I think her son has taken up where she left off. And there's a Gerson Institute out in California, and they have a clinic in Tijuana where they treat people with basically a nutritional approach. So we did that research, and then we found another video called Forks Over Knives with T. Colin Campbell. We watched that, and both are focused on nutrition. I said, I want to try this. So we went out and bought a really good juicer. I went out to the local grocery store and I bought 10 pounds of carrots, and a bunch of green stuff and mostly spinach. And we started juicing. And I did that for about, I think it was about 6 weeks. I had a glass of juice, very similar to your protocol, Chris. Glass of juice every hour, 8 to 10 ounces for 8 hours a day. I wasn't only on a juice diet. I ate regular meals, and we were experimenting with recipes from Forks Over Knives and some other plant-based things or vegan meals. And we were discovering that, hey, this is pretty good.
Did you decide to go 100% plant-based right away, or
yes,
were you kind of...
we did. Well, God bless my wife. She did it with me. So we both went basically cold turkey. We literally went through our freezer and our refrigerator, and we either threw out or gave away anything that even contained a trace of meat, fish, dairy, or eggs. No whey protein, no nothing. I mean, we literally gave it to the neighbors or put it in the garbage, and which left our pantry and icebox pretty much empty.
Yeah.
So
I remember I had the same scenario when I adopted the raw food diet. Yeah, it was like there's nothing in here I can eat.
yes,
Right.
you start reading labels and realize that they stick dairy stuff in everything. There's whey protein and in drinks,
Corn syrup.
they use it as a filler and bulk up and all this guys. So that's the other thing we started to do. We started reading every label before we bought anything. And we were pretty strict, paranoid, if you will. And we really used Forks Over Knives as a basis. That's how we started. And I just decided to go to cold turkey. And I have knowingly not had a drop of meat, fish, dairy, or eggs in almost 14 years. And I feel fantastic.
Talk about your physical condition when you were diagnosed, because you mentioned this before we started the interview.
Oh, yes. Well, when they diagnosed me, naturally prostate cancer surgery is an option for many people. But they diagnosed me as too fat for surgery. So I'm not skinny now, that's for sure.
But you lost a bunch of weight, though. I mean,
I did.
How much did you weigh when you were diagnosed with prostate cancer?
I don't know. I think it was probably close to 290, 300. I mean, I was disgusting. I mean, I was disgusted with myself. And so I didn't do anything to consciously lose weight. It just started dropping off. And after a few weeks, I started feeling better. I started having more energy. And, my wife did too, because she wasn't doing the juicing, but she was eating the meals with me. And so we were discovering how to cook plant-based, and it's a learning experience. And my daughter and I got 7 grandkids. They thought I was nuts. My brother, my sister, my other brother out in California thought I was crazy. They said, you can't do that. You've got to go for chemo. You got to go for, surgery, I said, no, I'm not going to do that, because the cure is worse than the disease. And I had done, like I said, we've done our due diligence, and I saw the videos of people, and I've read the articles, and we saw some YouTubes, and we've known people and friends who basically died of chemo, and how horrid it is. But anyway, I started feeling really good, and so did my wife. And we noticed that she noticed our complexions were doing better. We were all of a sudden, we were going to the bathroom a lot, 2 or 3 times a day, which we'd never done before. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, super poopers.
Yes, exactly. Super. I didn't want to say that, but super poopers. Yeah, we still go 2 or 3 times, usually before noon, and maybe once more in late afternoon or something like that.
Let me interject here for
Sure.
everybody listening. If you're not pooping twice a day, your diet is not optimal, right? You
That's
should
absolutely
poop
correct.
twice a day. 3 times is even better, but minimum twice a day. So if you're not pooping twice a day, you're eating the wrong food. You're not eating the right food for your body. And the right food for your body is fruits and vegetables, it's plant food, because it moves through quickly. It's easy to digest. And the fiber does not get hung up, bunched up, right? It doesn't get impacted in your colon like hard sludge, right? And causing constipation. So that's amazing. Like you saw very quickly, you saw
very,
your
very
bowels just started
quickly.
moving
Yep.
regularly.
And we thought there might have been something wrong, but then we read some more and did some more studies and stuff like this and found out that that's normal. That's the way the human body is designed to do, to get rid of the waste and not store it in your gut, because that has all kinds of crap in it that it's not healthy, it's not good, and it goes in, it's nasty. So
The longer it, and I'll just add, the longer it
Sure.
sits in your colon, right? The longer poop sits in your colon, the more it putrefies and it releases toxic material, right? I mean, it's toxic already. It's already your body's toxic waste, but it gets more toxic, and you will reabsorb some of that toxic stuff through the lining of your colon back into your bloodstream. So a lot of people who are constipated end up in what I refer to as auto intoxication, right? They're reabsorbing their own crap, and that's why you feel like crap.
exactly. And so getting rid of the waste in the bacteria at the same time during those initial phases, we're replacing our gut bacteria. So our body had to learn to digest high fiber plant-based materials, fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. And but like I said, we went better, we felt better, we started losing weight without trying to lose weight. And we started, walking around the neighborhood. And I had never done that before. And we just had energy to go. So, and so we kept on the juicing for, like I said, about 6 weeks. And I couldn't find a physician to work with. I couldn't find a holistic practitioner anywhere in the area. So we were kind of forced to do it on our own. And then this is 14 years ago. This is before you had all the, vegan type foods in the grocery stores and the soy milks and all that stuff. And so we were kind of feeling our way along. But at the same time, I don't know why, but something made me think about doing yoga, and had a wonderful instructor at a local place. And my wife found that Forks Over Knives, there was a program for becoming certified in plant-based nutrition. And so she decided she did that. So she followed the T. Colin Campbell, went to the online school and learned plant-based nutrition. And by this time, she had pretty much started taking over the kitchen. And we found that there was a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale called Holistic Holiday at Sea. And T. Colin Campbell I think they pretty much organized it. And so we decided to try that, because basically it was a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean, but it was classes all day long, every hour on the hour. So we took that and met some wonderful cooks and chefs and learned a whole bunch more. And every morning we sat down for breakfast or lunch or dinner, and you sit down with somebody different, because it wasn't planned seating or anything else like a lot of cruises. And it was interesting because every morning everybody would sit down, introduce yourselves, and around the table we would go, "Oh, what are you dying from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm dying from prostate cancer. This one over here was dying of brain cancer. This one had bladder cancer. This one had somebody else's cancer." And some of them were dying of other things, but we were all dying. At least we had been diagnosed as dying. And it became a joke. And we would have ice cream socials in the evening, or pizza, all vegan and plant-based. So you just develop a strong thing. And so we came back from that and talked to that yoga studio in the Kissimmee. And we told them what we were doing, and they were going to do a little health seminar. So we said, well, we can do that. And they said, well, can you provide some samples of vegan food? So we started catering events, and with big trays of food, and we had, maybe a couple, 300 people. And my wife was becoming, she had gone through the course. She was now becoming a vegan chef. And the stuff is really good. And today continues. It's absolutely delicious. She's amazing. She's got a Pinterest site that has over 22,000 plant-based recipes. And you can find that on our website.
How much time transpired between when you decided to adopt a whole food plant-based diet for aggressive prostate cancer and you got your first positive test result or blood work?
Well, first of all, I never went back to that jerk oncologist, either one of them. Now, we had a doctor in Kissimmee, but just a neighboring town, who was actually a cardiac specialist. And we had found as a GP. And so we went to him and we got, standard blood work. And we noted that, he noted that our blood work was amazing. My A1C and was down. My cholesterol was, in the 300s, and it was down to, like 180 very quickly. And now
how
it's
much
130.
time? Like how much time had passed?
I think it's probably was about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I think I went to get the blood work from him because I wanted to check my PSA and I wanted to, check out, see how I was doing. So it was after I was juicing, and so I wanted to see what the results might have been. And we had been losing weight and stuff like this. And not only was I surprised and shocked and pleased, so he was amazed. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "We went plant-based." He said, "What's that?" And this is a cardiac specialist, right? Really nice older gentleman. He's now retired, but he would, I would go see him at least twice a year. And during this time, I think I went every three months because I wanted to track the results. And my cholesterol dropped down to below 140, probably in 2 months, maybe 3 months max. Again, I was losing weight and stuff like this, and we were starting to walk and get out and stretch our legs. I had a pool at the time, so I started actually swimming instead of just floating on the raft.
Let me point out that what you just shared is very common.
Oh yeah.
It is very common to see a dramatic reversal in progression of disease and in metabolic health markers, blood markers like A1C, like cholesterol, and inflammatory markers in your blood when you adopt a whole food plant-based diet. When you stop pumping your body full of garbage, right? Tons of meat and dairy, processed food, fast food, junk food, all this stuff, and you start giving it an abundance of food from the earth, you are stimulating healing. You're facilitating healing on the physical level. And so, yeah, it's absolutely thrilling to hear that testimony from you, but not surprising at all. But I know there are people watching that will also be encouraged and given hope, right? And so for anybody watching, I want you to understand, you can turn things around really quickly if you just put your mind to it and change your life and just stay consistent.
Oh, absolutely. And like I wanted to mention too, my wife was forced to retire for medical reasons from Delta Airlines. She worked for Delta for almost 30 years. But she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, severe. Sometimes she couldn't get out of bed in the morning. But she went on this diet with me. And I think it was about 3 weeks or so. She got up one morning and said, and just stood by the bed. And she said, "I just got out of bed and it didn't hurt." And so her fibromyalgia practically disappeared. She'll still get like little flares of some joint pain and stuff like this now, but nothing even remotely like this. Around the same time I was diagnosed with my cancer, which was bad enough, my wife had seen a cardiac specialist and had one of those scans where they run a camera up your, veins and look at your heart and stuff like this. And she had about a 50% blockage in the ascending artery. And the doctor said he almost put in a stent, but he said he would look and wait for a while. But I can tell you now, she recently had a scan, and the doctors were amazed, and they said her veins and her arteries are clear like a newborn baby, slick as a whistle. So it not only helped me survive and live, my wife as well, fibromyalgia and heart disease. And her cholesterol is also normal.
That's awesome. Yeah, that your body can break down arterial plaque.
Oh, it does.
If you stop putting the stuff in that is causing the plaque buildup, right?
Absolutely.
This is the deal. Like grease and fat clog your arteries.
Yeah, Chris, you are what you eat. And your body rebuilds itself, every 7 years or so, something like that. So I've been rebuilt now at least about twice. So the new me. But anyway, going on, we started promoting this. I was doing yoga, and we started feeling better and stuff like this. Oh, also when we went, we didn't drink. I quit drinking about 29 years ago. So when we were doing this, we didn't have to worry about alcohol complications or anything like that. And I think that helped a lot in my detoxing and getting rid of stuff. So we started teaching, and Nancy would give classes in our home in Orlando, and we were doing some catering and some parties. We did take about 15 people or 16 people on a second holistic cruise that left out of Miami. They had to upgrade the ship because so many people were now going.
It's a really fun cruise. I spoke on that cruise in February 2020.
Yeah.
Before
you know how much fun it is.
Yeah, before the world went haywire.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and we were just getting a few reports on the cruise about something was going on, and people weren't really sure. But yeah, so they haven't done it since February 2020, but I hope they do it again, because I definitely would go back. It's called the Holistic Holiday at Sea, and we had a great group of folks from my community come, and yeah, it was really fun. But anyway, for those of you who subscribe to my email newsletter, I'll keep you posted if they decide to open it up again, and if I'm speaking.
Yeah, it's well worth it, because it's a learning experience, and it's just a lot of fun because you meet so many wonderful people, and you end up leaving on a very, if so many people, and I'm on Chris's Square One Facebook group, and I try and help people at where I can, and you end up coming off that cruise with a positive, hopeful feeling. If you went on to it negatively, kind of like I did the first time, being told by the best oncologist, you can see that you're going to die, or you got to have chemo or radiation or some other horrific, debilitating treatment. This is such a hopeful event, and you meet so many other people, crazy old farts like me, but there's also young people like Chris, and it's a wonderful experience. And also the seminar that Chris and I met at in 2017 is well worth going if it comes to your city. And the truth about cancer, that has a bunch of great people, and a great message as well, because the message is cancer is curable now. And I tell people that everybody has cancer. It's our immune system that keeps it at bay. It stops it from attacking, and it always attacks the weakest point in the body. And that's why you keep your strong immune system, and basically you won't get sick. not just with cancer, but you won't get anything else either. It keeps you healthy and strong. And like I said, I'm 75 and I got too much energy sometimes because I can't shut up and I can't sit down.
So what do you say to somebody who comes to you and they have a cancer diagnosis and they say, Skip, what do I need to know? What do I need to do?
I tell them, first of all, nutrition is the key to life. And if you want to learn to live, you've got to change your diet. You've got to focus on giving your body the stuff it needs to cure itself, because you were designed to be healthy. You aren't designed to be sick. You aren't designed to take pills. You're designed to be healthy and vital for a long, long time. And I'm an example of that. I'm 75. I'm not skinny, but I'm active. And like I said, my blood work is almost perfect. Well, it is perfect. So I tell them, look at your diet. It sounds daunting to people when you tell them you got to give up meat, fish, dairy, and eggs because they're toxic. And the only thing I can do is I use my wife and I as examples. I said, look at us. We look younger than our neighbors, and they're in their 50s and 60s. We're walking around here and they're driving around in golf carts. And we go on hikes and we travel, and we people tell us, I'm not bragging, but we look younger than 75. And we feel younger. And we took up writing. We write books. I do websites. My wife has become, she took up painting. She's become a wonderful artist now. We are just doing stuff all the time. And our neighbors think we're crazy. Oh yeah, we're the vegans. And you don't eat meat. I said, no, we haven't in 14 years. And they admit we look pretty good. They know we're healthy. They know we're active. But they refuse to even consider changing their diet lifestyle. So there's not a whole lot you can do unless people want to change. And when you're diagnosed with cancer or any other terrible disease, even diabetes can be deadly. You've got to want to take the steps. And frankly, you have to learn to say no to your doctor. You got to say, no, I'm not going to take that pill. I don't want to take that treatment. I don't want to do chemo. I don't want to take the radiation, because even when you get that remission from chemo or whatever after the horrible, horrible, horrible treatment, if people say they're cured if they've lived 5 years after going through chemo. They're not cured, because 3 years after that or less, cancer almost every time comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance like gangbusters. Every case I've ever seen, the people don't last 10 years. They say they're cured after 5, but they're dead in 10. And I've been 14, and I never say I'm cured. I try and keep my immune system as strong as I can to stop that cancer from killing me. And
I think there's several really important points you made there that I'd like to highlight. One is that, a lot of people can't be helped. They don't want to be helped, right?
Yep.
And let me expound. They want to be helped, but they don't want to change, right? They want to be helped in the least, with the least amount of effort possible, right?
Yes.
And that is a pill. So that is the magic bullet, which this is what I call magic bullet medicine. And unfortunately, a magic bullet medicine does not work for most chronic illness. It doesn't cure people. It doesn't make them healthier or heal them or improve their quality of life. It may improve it a little if they're in pain, but generally speaking, it doesn't solve the root cause of their disease. And so a person has to, A, believe they can get well, and B, want to get well, and C, be willing to change their life, right? That's what I call the beat cancer mindset. And you had it. It was clear that
Yep.
you believed you could, you wanted to, and you were willing to change your life, and you stuck with it.
Belief is key. Okay. You've got to believe. I think you've got to believe this will work. You've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to believe in that there is an alternative and it is possible. And that belief, we try and help people with that belief in using ourselves as examples. You know, it worked for me. Why can't it work for you? And they said I'd be dead a long time ago. And just the opposite. I'm healthy now. And, you know, I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. And
This is why I do these interviews, right? This is why I'm interviewing you, because,
yes,
you know, one story is powerful. And sometimes one person's story is all it takes to change your life, right? One
yes,
person's story at the right time in your life can be so inspiring that it sets you on a completely different path and changes
yes.
your life. So that's awesome. But guess what's better than one person's story, right? Two or 10
Yeah.
or 100. And so,
Or 1,000 or 10,000.
exactly. So the more stories of healing and survival and thrival, a word I made up,
Yep.
that I can share, that we can share, the better, because then it becomes, you know, even to the skeptic who says, "Oh, that's just an anecdote. Oh, they're just lucky," right? Then even the skeptics sit up and start to take notice when they see, wait a second, all these people who are healing advanced cancer, surviving advanced cancer, and didn't do conventional treatment are all saying they did the same things, right? There are
Exactly.
common threads in all of these stories that cannot be ignored. I mean, they can be ignored, but they shouldn't be ignored, right? So your story's powerful. And man, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you made the decision you did.
Oh, me
When,
too.
because I know it's a lot of people are not willing to give up their favorite bad habits, their favorite junk food,
Yep.
right? And their favorite bad attitudes in order to help themselves get well. And it's hard to watch. It's tragic, you know, if you want to help everybody and you just can't. But the people who come along who want your help, that actually take action, that's where you get all this incredible joy and fulfillment from doing what you do, right?
Yeah. And again, it's people look at saying, oh, not eating meat, fish, dairy, or eggs. They just see, like we did when we first started, an empty refrigerator, an empty pantry. They don't know what to do. You know, it's one thing saying I'm going to be vegan or I'm going to be plant-based, but how to do it. And that's why I'm saying Forks Over Knives, your book and your cookbooks are great tools, but they're, you know, there are hundreds and hundreds of other chefs and plant-based people. Dr. McDougall is another one who is great. If you want to try and lose weight, his starch diet is wonderful. There's so many of them. Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine out of Washington, D.C., pcrm.org is an amazing site. They have all kinds of wonderful things. Especially for treating diabetes and some other things. And they've been growing leaps and bounds. And there are so many resources. And there are, like I said, chefs, and there's YouTube chefs, and that show you how to eat, you know, cook delicious plant-based cuisine. And you don't have to give up lasagna. You don't have to give up enchiladas. You don't have to give up steak. You can learn how to make seitan. My wife even has a seitan video on YouTube. I mean, and it's really, you know, go out there and grill it. You can eat eggs, but use just egg. It's a plant-based egg replacer, and it's delicious. You can make scrambled eggs and omelets, all kinds of, there's so many different options. And Gardein products in the freezer section. They have chicken replacements, beef hamburger replacement, all kinds of things, and it's fairly inexpensive. And there are so many other alternatives, you know, different for soy milks, oat milk, almond milk. There's so many different milk replacements now. When we first did this 14 years ago, none of that stuff existed, or very little of it. But now there are so many options. There's, plant-based cheeses, sausage, bratwurst, knockwurst, sauerkrauts, just all kinds of things. And most good grocery stores have whole sections just for this stuff. And it's amazing if you, and just stay in the produce section, learn to cook squash that you may never have had. Learn how to cook we had spaghetti squash last night, and my wife stuffed it with a bean and rice mixture with some hot sauce. It was delicious. And you learn that these meals are absolutely scrumptious and delicious. You can use those replacement products, but they're still processed foods. Just get down to the basics of, your greens, beans, and rice, lentils, soups and stews. Just the list goes on and on. There are tens of thousands of different recipes. You can never go to the end of it. And for every cookbook you go through, there's another one. There's tons of them. And you learn to love to cook. You learn to experiment with different spices you probably may never have even heard of. Putting nutritional yeast, if you've never heard of that, on popcorn is delicious, and it's all healthy stuff. You learn all these wonderful foods, and then you learn to use supplements properly. Vitamin C, D, zinc, and so many other things, and that all those things are available. You can learn about them. But the thing is, you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to do a little study. It takes work, but it works if you work it. And I can't say enough. I mean, it's an amazing lifestyle. You will feel better. I can guarantee it. You will look better, and you will live longer. And
it's good. It's it's a good word. It's a good word. You will feel better if you change your life and change your diet and focus on whole plant foods. And, the things you mentioned, the fake meats and cheeses, we don't really recommend those. They're okay for, transition foods when you're trying to get away from those kind of things, but generally they are processed foods. So those are sort of like used in sparingly, but if you're focusing on whole fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, legumes, herbs and spices. Yeah, the combinations.
Whole foods for healthy living.
Whole foods. The combinations are endless. And yes, I have a new cookbook with a bunch of delicious plant-based recipes.
Yes.
Go buy it. It's called Beat Cancer. But it's one. Look, it's one of, I guess, thousands, right, of plant-based cookbooks.
Thousands,
I mean, they've really exploded. When I was diagnosed in 2004, I mean, there were almost no plant-based cookbooks. I mean, the list was very short.
Right.
And it's that whole movement has exploded in a really, really good way. So it's exciting to see that. And Skip, thanks for taking the time to do this. It's been really fun to hang out with you and hear your story. And I know it's going to encourage people and help them understand that, I may be a young guy, right? But healing isn't just for young people, right? You can heal at any age. You get a scary diagnosis in your 60s, right? You can change your life and empower your body to heal. And so your message is just as important as mine. And I'm just so excited to share it. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Chris. And hopefully we'll see you again.
See you again soon. Yeah, hopefully on the cruise. Thanks, everybody.
Maybe.
Thanks for watching. Listen, please share this video with people you care about. There are people in your life who have chronic disease, who are taking medications for heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, maybe cancer, right? They're taking medication for chronic disease. The medication is not solving their disease, and they're just living with it. And they need to know that they have power to change their life and help themselves heal. And so this interview is just another awesome example of that. So please like this video, please share it with your friends and family, share it on social media. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.